Well, hi, everybody. This is John Duffy again. And for those of you who don't know me, and this is your first time actually seeing me in a video, I do a lot of videos. I'm a licensed mental health counselor. I practice here in Alabama, in Phoenix City, Alabama, just across the border from Georgia, and Columbus, Georgia, and Fort Benning, Georgia. And I specialize a lot in women survivors of domestic violence and in post-traumatic stress disorder for sexual traumas, domestic violence survivor, and of course for combat-related traumas. What I want to talk to you about today, though, doesn't do a whole lot with the traumas. It deals with preventing becoming a victim of a chronic trauma, a chronic abuse situation. And this is specifically designed for women, but men can also benefit from this. What I'd like to talk to you about is many of you may have already, unfortunately, been victims to a narcissistic personality or an antisocial personality disorder. And in that, you kind of have some ideas of what to look for and what to avoid. But some of you may not have encountered one of these malicious personality disorders. It is a disorder. It is a mental health diagnosis. It is a problem that that person has. However, their problem is not your problem. And therefore, it's important for you to kind of know the signs and symptoms. One of the biggest things that I encounter when I'm dealing with survivors of domestic violence is most of these women who come to me, we discover together that they are victims of a narcissist, and usually either a covert or a malignant narcissist. The grandiose narcissist, there's three types, and we'll get into that in just a second, but the grandiose are kind of easy to discern right off the bat. They're very open about their exaggerated value and importance and their belief of being entitled and more important than the people around them and smarter. These kind of people are kind of easy to detect. Not always, but most of the time they are. It's the covert narcissist and it's the malignant narcissist that are the ones that create this wonderful, perfect person in the beginning, and then all of a sudden there's a switcheroo. And then you're like, well, who the hell is this? That's not who I fell in love with. That's not what was presented to me when I first met this person. And so what I want to talk to you all about today is how to detect the narcissist. You know, a lot of people, especially this question, actually, I'm actually asking a question. I was at the Department of Alabama American Legion annual conference, and I was speaking with some of the auxiliary members, and a lot of those they're widows and widowers, and they are people who are divorced, and they're getting back into the dating game. They're people who have left abusive relationships or unfortunately and sadly, their spouses have passed away. And so now they're trying to get back out there and find that special person to have and to have a great relationship and a life and share their life with. And that's good. That's normal. That's healthy. That's not something to look at and go, are you crazy? It's not at all. However, it's not as easy as it looks, is it? It's not as easy getting out there and dating and doing things to find that perfect person. And sometimes we find ourselves over and over again attracted to and attracting others who are predatory in nature and narcissistic. And so here are some things that I thought I would share with you. One is that the narcissist, the narcissistic personality disorder comes in basically three major types. There is the malignant narcissist, the covert narcissist, and the grandiose narcissist. The malignant narcissist is probably the worst of them all, and we'll cover that. Well, we'll cover it right now. The malignant narcissist will start off by just showering the person, kind of love bombing. You know, they'll put them on this pedestal and they'll tell them how special and beautiful and wonderful and how much they just shower them in love and praise, and they make their potential victim feel like they're so special. Like this person is so wonderful and he's such a great guy and he really loves me and he's showering me with all these flowers and gifts and things like this. And they're going to be really quick to put them on that pedestal and really build them up. And you kind of get addicted to it. It's almost like a drug. So think about it like that, a little bit like he's giving you little shots of heroin, right? And after a while, they're going to want to move very quickly into more intimacy. They're not going to want to go slowly at all, and this is a big indicator. They're going to want to go from, I met you, I've known you for 2 weeks, maybe even a month, and now I want to live with you. And they want you to share their deepest, darkest secrets with them. And they're going to go through all of that and they're going to praise you up. And then all of a sudden, at some point, especially after you start mending into and kind of coming together and you're living together or you're getting close, all of a sudden there's going to be a switch. One day, he's going to be in this attitude where nothing satisfies him. He's upset, he's angry, you can't figure out why he's angry. He's talking about he needs alone time, he's not comfortable here anymore, he wants to leave, have some time to himself. And then what he's expecting, this is a test. What he's looking for is the victim going to be, oh, please don't go, I'm sure I've done something wrong, I can make it right, I love you, I want to stay with you, this is how the narcissist is roping their victim into, this is how he knows for sure at this point if he has a person that he's going to be able to string along and abuse, basically, and feed his narcissism. So that person needs constant reaffirmation, constant, I can't live without you, you're the best, you're the only one I can deal. They need that, and they're going to get it in any way they can out of you, and they're going to suck the damned life out of you. That's exactly what they're going to do. Now, all narcissists, the covert and the malignant, do this, but malignant has a difference to it that we're going to get to here shortly. They're going to rope you in. So when you're in the dating game, you want to look for, one, are they overpraising you? Are they really going out of their way very early in the relationship and it's kind of unusual? You want to look for that. Okay, it's okay to have somebody who's interested in you, but they're going to take their time too. Ladies, I'm going to tell you, most men, when we're dating, we want to take time too. One, we don't want to appear creepy to you. Two, we don't want to run you off. Three, we're genuinely interested, but we're kind of cautious about revealing ourselves as much as you are. And so things are going to go a lot slower. They're not going to go really fast. Another thing is that they're going to ask you a lot of questions about you, but you're not going to get a lot of information about them. They're going to be very mysterious. And at the same time, you're going to be willing to open up, you're going to feel very comfortable around them, and you're going to start telling them intimate things about yourself. When I talk about wanting to go intimate quick, I'm not talking about just sex. I'm talking about getting into the intimate details of your life, the things that you would share only with someone very special and someone that you trusted to know that information about you. They're going to want to pull that out of you. They're going to want to know everything about you. They're going to ask you questions, and you're going to think that that's because they're interested in you. The reality is they're building ammo. They're building ammo to use against you. So let's say you're seeing a counselor because you were in a bad relationship before and you have maybe PTSD or you have anxiety disorders or some type of depression that you're dealing with. You're seeing a psychiatrist, you're taking some Prozac or something like that, and you're helping yourself get better from all of those experiences in the past. So let's say that's all going on and you share that with that individual. Keep that in mind. We're going to keep going. As time goes on, you're going to find yourself really sharing a lot of information with him, but he's not going to be sharing a whole lot of information with you. In fact, he's probably going to give you a lot of sympathy stories. He's probably going to really prey on your empathy and compassion and sympathy and your desire to want to heal and nurture. He's going to play on it, but you're not going to get a lot of information out of him. If you really think about it, you're not getting anything out of him or his past or what he's about. Now, you're going to move on from that. Eventually, he's going to get to where he feels comfortable, where he can now do the switch. It's kind of a bait and switch. One day, you're going to be sitting there and he's going to come home, he's going to be there with you. He's going to be very irritable. He's not going to want you, he's going to kind of push you away. He's going to say that he needs some space, that he doesn't feel comfortable around you. I feel comfortable, but I didn't feel comfortable now. There's something about you that's just not right, and I just don't feel good about it. And what he's looking for at that point is what I was discussing earlier. He is looking for that response from you that says, oh, well, tell me, what did I do wrong? Because he wants to see if you're going to self-blame or if you're going to say, well, what's wrong with you? Tell me what's wrong with you that's making you feel this way. He wants to see if your self-value is down here versus up here. And he wants to see if he's going to be able to use that to manipulate you and keep you under control. So if you're one of those who is just desperate to have all that attention that he gave you, which is exactly why he gave it to you, Once you get addicted to the little shots of heroin, you're going to want to keep that, and you're going to be afraid to lose it. And that's where he has you. That's where he's going to start doing. Then he's going to start becoming very abusive, and and if you challenge him on these things that you say, then he's going to turn around. And he's going to become very vicious, and he's going to bring up all of those issues that you discussed with him that are intimate, that you thought he was a good listener about, that you thought he was understanding and non-judgmental about. He's going to bring all of that up, and then throw it in your face. Well, you're so crazy. All your anxiety gets in the way, and it makes this hard, and blah, 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 blah. And again, you're going to be begging him to stay. You're going to be, oh, I know, I have all these problems. I'm so sorry. That's where he's got you. He's going to manipulate. From that point on, he is doing nothing but degrading you, devaluing you, dismissing you, and destroying you. And then after that episode, he's going to love bomb you enough. So if you think about it, it's like he gives an addict a shot of heroin. They get addicted to the heroin. Then he takes them off long enough for them to go into withdrawal and tortures them and enjoys it. And this is where the malignant narcissist comes in. They actually enjoy the emotional suffering and physical suffering of their victim. They get off on it. And then they give you another shot. So here comes the love bombing. And they continue to work and tell you, oh, I love you, this is great, you're perfect, blah, 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 and then right back into another episode. And those episodes of abuse get longer each time, and the episodes of love bombing become less frequent, and the longevity of them becomes less and less. So how long the love bombing takes does like this, and how often that happens goes less and less. But the amount of abuse gets longer, and the frequency of the abuse gets more frequent. And a lot of people, it happens in such a way that most people can be in a relationship with a narcissist abuser for years and not realize that's what they're in. Now, why is that? One of the reasons is that people don't know what narcissism is. They think narcissism is the grandiose narcissist only. This is the person who exaggerates their achievements, exaggerates their wealth, tells everybody they're the great, the Donald Trumps of the world. Now, I don't care if you voted for him or not, but that he has a very grandiose narcissistic personality. Now, these are the people you can see a mile away. So when I'm talking to a lot of people who are dealing with a narcissist or have just recently escaped a narcissistic abuser, and I say, yeah, you're dealing with a narcissist. You've dealt with a narcissist. You've been damaged by a narcissist or abused by a narcissist. And they'll say, well, I don't see that in him. I mean, I don't see him being grandiose and blah, blah, blah. There's two other types. There's the covert narcissist and the malignant narcissist also. The malignant narcissist is the one that's really, really emotionally and sometimes physically abusive to their victim. And they really get off on the pain they cause. So a lot of their comments are meant to hurt, are meant to devalue. And even in very intimate relationships where sex is involved, the sex acts that they demand are meant to be demeaning to their female partner. It's meant to make them, it's not meant to be equal sex. It's not meant to be enjoyable sex for both partners. It's meant for him to get off, get it all, and for her to be degraded and devalued and treated like some street hooker, like a piece of meat. The covert narcissist, on the other hand, is going to spend a great deal of time wanting self-affirmations, and they kind of use guilt to manipulate. They use a lot of guilt tricks to manipulate, and these are the ones that will still use the I don't feel comfortable, I think I'm going to leave, to try to get people to rope along and do what he wants. But he's also going to use a lot of guilt and I feel bad, and they're going to use bad health stories and all of these kind of things to keep their victim under control. Both of these are highly unhealthy relationships, extremely unhealthy relationships. And the victim comes out feeling devalued. They have a low self-esteem. It's been sucked right out of them. They have a low self-efficacy. And when we talk about self-efficacy, we're talking about confidence. Self-efficacy is the sense of being able to accomplish a task or a goal that you set for yourself. Self-esteem is your self-value, how you view yourself. Well, if you're beat down and you're constantly being told that you're valueless and you're stupid and you're crazy and you're all of these different things, especially the gaslighting that takes place. And that's what I was talking about earlier, is that all these intimate things that you share, They turn right back around. And when you're upset about something the narcissist has done wrong, and the narcissist is wrong, the narcissist is going to flip it around to where you end up feeling like you're wrong for challenging him for something that you didn't do wrong. You have every right to be angry with him or her for what's going on. You have every right to be confused. You have every right to challenge and want to know what the hell is wrong with him. But they're going to flip it around. And the more that goes on, the more conditioned you become. That becomes your norm. And so when you finally realize that you've spent years in this abusive relationship, and most of the time, most of the people have to be told that's what they're in. They have to be shown that this is what their significant other is doing to them before they actually understand that they need to get out of it. So that's what they rope you into. And so when you're dating, it's going back to the dating, because I kind of went down a tangent here, but going back to dating, you're going to want to look for, they don't share much about themselves, but they want a lot to know. They want to know everything about you very fast. They'll change the topic if you ask questions about them, or they'll give you very vague answers that are very trivial, or they're not deep. They're very on the surface. You will also find them showering you in compliments and making you feel great very fast. And they'll show this air of confidence in you and things like that. Things that when you look around, most men don't do right away because they don't want to come across as a creeper. That's what's going on in the back of their mind. That's why they don't move so fast. However, this person makes you feel comfortable, makes you feel like they're a good listener, when in fact they're just gaining information to use against you later. They put you on this pedestal so they can knock that pedestal out from under you. They get you addicted to all of that praise and love, so they can then put you in withdrawals and use that to manipulate you, to literally feed their own low self-esteem, to literally feed their own low self-efficacy, because they're very fragile inside. Very fragile. And when you confront their narcissism, they're going to become vicious. And that's when you're going to get the attacks. And they're going to put you down, and they're going to yell at you. And then they're going to say, oh, I've done all these things for you. This is the guilt trips. And you say guilt trip or guilt trick, whichever one you want to know. It is a trick. It is a trip down misery lane. So you can say it either way. They're going to use all of these things. When you detect any of these things, when you find that the person is more focused on themselves, when they're giving you all these cues and you're saying, you're not going to detect the dark side of a narcissist when you first meet him or her. They're not going to show that side. They're going to be that one person that you think is so wonderful, so beautiful, so they're the perfect person. I've never guessed, I would have never guessed I would meet this person. The number one rule is that there's no human being on this earth that's that perfect, that's that good a listener, that's that, love-filled and capable of just instantly loving you that fast. It takes time to build a relationship. So when you first meet and you're first dating, it's going to take some time in a normal, healthy development. When things are moving really fast and a lot of information is getting drawn from you, or there's attempts to draw a lot of information from you, then it's important to step back. So here's some advice. One, don't give a lot of information about yourself right off the bat. Require a lot of time before you get to that point of intimacy. Don't be real quick to want to move in with them. Don't spend 3-4 dates and all of a sudden, this is the person I'm going to live with for the rest of my life. Because once you're in that's when they're going to start. A lot of their dark side will start coming out long before you become married to them. It will start coming out long before you live with them. So if you cause it to stretch out, you're going to start seeing those cracks in his facade, that mask that he puts on. You're going to see it come out. You're going to see him do the switcheroo, as I call it, when they're going to sit back there and say, I don't feel comfortable. They're going to reject you a little bit and see how much you try to cling on to that. Instead of just going, well, hey, this is a relationship, tell me about it. What's going on? What's affecting you? And instead of begging him to stay. That's what he's looking for. And that's what's going to keep you trapped in that. And it only gets worse. It never gets better, and it never maintains at one level. So in the beginning, you're going to say, well, this is kind of an annoying trait he has, but I can live with it. Stop it right then, because if you don't, it will get worse. So those are the things you want to look for. How fast do they move into asking you questions that, how fast do they move to make you feel comfortable around them? How fast do they move to shower you in things? If your gut says this guy's moving way too fast, your gut's right. He's moving way too fast. If your gut tells you, I really shouldn't be sharing this right now with this person, I don't feel comfortable doing that, then don't, because it will get used against you. They can be very vicious and very malicious and very vindictive. So don't share it at that moment. Wait. If there's a true attraction here and there's a true developing love here, he'll wait. He won't press for information. When you're getting all of these lovely comments and statements, and you're getting cards and flowers and all of these things, caution. Accept them. It's great. It may be a legitimate love thing here. He may actually really want to show you some affection and appreciation. Caution, though. Trust but verify. Caution. Stay at your speed. Go slow. When your gut deeply says, okay, I'm ready with this, then you're probably at a point where you can step it up. But the worst thing you can do is let this person control how fast your relationship develops, because that is a big time sign that you're dealing with a narcissist. One of the other types that are very, very, very charismatic, love bombing, they're very good at fooling their victims, is the antisocial personality disorder, or what a lot of people commonly call the sociopath. And these are people who use people and then drop them. As soon as they no longer have a use for that person, they just throw them away. These are horrible people themselves, and they just suck the life out of them and throw them away. The narcissist will suck the life out like a vampire, but they'll kind of keep enough there so they can continue to feed for long periods of time. And the focus is on more of their emotional feeding than on the antisocial personality, which was more on my immediate needs right now. They also tend to be less wanting to fight, although they will very quickly, whereas the antisocial will be far more violent. And so I've had cases where I've had a husband that was both antisocial personality disorder comorbid with malignant narcissism, and this is a dangerous combination. This is the combination. This is the guy who threatens, who physically abuses, emotionally abuses, threatens to kill. In some cases, I've seen them where they have delusions where every male who even looks in the direction of his wife is trying to sleep with his wife. It's horrible delusions, and these delusions lead that person, or the person uses these excuses to be violent towards his wife and to make threats against other people. And they're so used to bullying people and people backing off that they think that they can do it over and over and over with anybody they run into, until they run into that one person who says, nope, buddy, you threaten me, you're going to jail. And then that's the way, and then even then they just go around and find some other victim. So that combination is where you have your most violent abusers and your most dangerous abusers. These are the ones where when you get a woman out of that environment, you really have to take her to a secret location. You have to get protective orders. There's a constant calling of the police on this guy. A lot of antisocial personalities have a very long record of conflict with the law. Some of them don't, though. But you can find other indicators. There's constant conflict in their social environment, at their place of work, or at places that they go for like social things or hobbies. You'll find that they tend to have these horrible confrontations with other people. In other words, they give everybody around them the creeps. Everybody sees that. They don't like being around that person. That person senses that, and then it just goes nuts. So you want to stay away from these personalities. And the best way to do that when you're dating is to look for those cues. Quick to go for intimate details on your life. quick to love bomb you and shower you with things that make you, if you feel like you're very, like this magical feeling of importance and specialness, careful. If that's happening really quick right after you meet the person, danger, danger, Will Robinson. Okay? You also want to look for those telltale signs of testing, where they're going to get moody on you all of a sudden, and then they're going to blame you for something, or they're going to gaslight you and make you feel like the bad person, but they behaved badly. They went out and did something when they were supposed to do something with you, or they wronged you and you challenged them on that wronging, and then all of a sudden they're blaming you and making you the bad guy when in fact they're the bad guy. That's gaslighting. You see any of these signs, run like hell. Don't try to repair it. Don't think you're going to fix him. You are not. Get the hell out of that relationship. There are a lot of other people out there you can fall in love with who will treat you a hell of a lot better than that person will ever treat you. And I can tell you, as a professional and as a person that runs into people like that all the time, it doesn't get better. Because a narcissist never sees themselves as doing anything wrong. They always see everybody else doing everything wrong. I don't have a problem. They have the problem. These inferior beings around me are so stupid and so evil and so blah, 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 blah. I'm the victim. That's how they play it. And they don't go to therapy. If they go to therapy, it's because they were ordered by the court to go to therapy because they got in trouble with the law, usually because they were beating their spouse. So don't think you can fix it. Don't think it's an irritating behavior that you can live with, because it will get worse and you won't be able to live with it then, and it will be harder to escape it then than it will when you first meet him and you say, okay, get the hell away from me. I don't want nothing to do with you. So that's my 2 cents. That's my, 25 minutes of talking to you. I hope this rambling, because I don't have a script on this one. Usually I do. I have note cards and stuff. I just felt like talking about this and letting women know that there are some things to look for. If you find yourself in a relationship that you believe or sense is narcissistic and being abusive, and you're having to deal with this abuse, you're not alone. Seek out counseling. Seek out social workers. There are resources for you out there that will allow you to escape it, and then cope with the damage done to you and to your children if you have children involved. A narcissistic parent can be devastatingly damaging to children around them. And so if you are a spouse, if you are a victim of a narcissistic abuser and you have children, you owe it not only to yourself to escape, but you owe it definitely to your children to escape, so that they are not permanently damaged as well. So if you have any questions or comments, you can always visit us on the web at www.alabamainstitute.com, or you can call me directly at the office. When you go to the website, you'll see the number. I can't remember the 800 number. So I hope that this was helpful to you. Give us a call, leave some comments. I'll be sure to answer them as quickly as I can. Thanks.